Well, first of all, you have to find the right doctors. There are doctors, a lot of doctors. I can think of most of the doctors I trained with love to get to the root cause. The DOs, the philosophy is get to the root cause. However, we are in a system where that's so corporate, where hospitals are buying out these private doctors, that the pressure is on us to see more patients. The doctors are not in control of that relationship as much. It's more pressure. See the patient, move on. See the patient, move on. And that's really bad for healthcare. The system is broken. Instead of a model of health, it's a model of sickness.
Today we're here with Dr. John. He's board-certified physician and has a passion for longevity and wellness. We're going to learn a lot of great insights about how to make improvements in your daily life through very simple things that all of us can take advantage of. So, Dr. John, to kick us off, what motivated you to get into healthcare? Like, how did you decide to get in this? What motivates you to keep coming back?
This is a great question. I don't have any one particular moment that changed my life.
Okay.
This has just been a culmination of doing things to improve myself and want to improve others. And I had to prove to myself that I could do it first by being good in school and making sure that we're diligent. Once I proved to myself, I said, this is something I can do.
Yeah.
Applied myself, and here we are. I always knew I liked systems. I actually grew up in a auto mechanic family, so taking care of things and fixing things is kind of natural. Dealing with people is natural, and being genuine, I feel like, is the most important thing. And the hard work, dedication, with a love of science, took me pretty into this position. Right. Sports medicine is something that I've always been passionate about. And musculoskeletal, how you can get your best possible outcome, is a dream job for me, because not only does it apply to my patients every day, it's something I can live every day.
Gotcha. So you're the only one in your family that's in medicine?
Yeah, I have some cousins, but pretty much me.
Were you the first one? Were you talking about the cousins? Okay.
No. I have some older cousins.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Are they in the same type of healthcare, or are they in a
completely different?
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating. And then how did you decide to go on the path of a DO? Like, there's so many different paths. You're just saying your cousins are taking, I'm guessing, a different path. So what is it that had you land on DO?
Yeah, so again, it's that concept of structure and function, the attention to the musculoskeletal system, treating a person as a whole. That's what really intrigued me about the DO program. I'm lucky I grew up in Michigan. Michigan State has a great presence there. They're really well connected in the hospital systems. And it was all around me anyway. Okay. So when I applied there, again, that was a dream position for me, and definitely can't be more proud.
Awesome. Now, I've heard that doctors are the worst patients. Do you feel that you fall into that category, and why?
100%. Doctors are absolutely the worst patients.
Tell me more.
First of all, actually, just from a guy's perspective, men are the worst patients.
Okay.
Because they're typically only brought to the doctor if their significant other dragged them in, or there's something wrong with down there.
Okay.
That's the only reason men come to the doctor. So for doctors, it's just we give so much out that we don't want to look at ourselves. And I think that typically, that's true for a lot of doctors.
Gotcha.
But I think it's changing. More doctors now are prioritizing wellness, mental well-being, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, because I've heard all that with chiropractors, where they won't necessarily go to another chiropractor. They'll use like a basketball to crack their own back, even if they know that's like a terrible idea to do. So I just thought that was so interesting. I didn't know if that held true across other specialties.
Doctors of osteopathic, we do work on each other. Okay. There is definitely only a few that I would trust. I don't trust everybody.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But we build that trust because we work on each other. We're a training institution. We train fellows, new residents, new doctors. So we try to maintain that standard. And so working on each other is kind of like, it's a bonus.
Yeah. Always wonder about that with like a surgery, like whoever like the top knee doctor is, like who does that person go to if they have to get their knee done, right? Like that'd be kind of nerve wracking if you're known as like the ultimate best, knee surgeon or cardiac surgeon. You're like, oh man, I have an issue. I have to go find someone.
I got to go with the number 2 guy now.
Yeah. Go with the number 2 guy. So being the fight doctor, what have you learned about optimal performance, injury prevention, and recovery that everyday people could benefit from?
Oh, great question. There's so many things. It's consistency. It's being able to take care of yourself. One of the things that I implement is being able to take a force and react to it, but in an unpredictable way.
Okay.
For instance, if you have kids, if you have kids and you go play basketball with that kid, you're going to have unpredictable movements, quick left, slow down to the right. And this is how people get common knee injuries. Your tissue is just not used to it. So if you're getting to your 40s, your 50s, and you make a sudden movement, it could be any movement. You could tear an Achilles. The common middle-aged man injury, right? You're tearing Achilles, you're out for several months. It's a kind of a big thing. So what I've learned from fights is you have to stay mobile. You have to have a job where you could take breaks and walk around, where you can implement mobility, calisthenics, some type of pressure so you can get full range of motion of your joints. Most people, if you're sitting at a desk, there's no way you're getting full range of motion of your hips. There's no way you're getting full range of motion of your shoulders, your neck. So fights teach you to put everything you got into this. They also teach you that a lot of MMA fighters have no flexibility.
Oh, really?
Muay Thai guys, all the way, full flexibility. But boxing, they know their stance. So the people who can be adaptable, malleable, get their soft tissues used to range of motion, and can apply that concept of mobility every day are going to be better in the long run. They're going to prevent injuries in the long run. Yeah.
I wish I could remember the statistic, but it's something like people that are past 30, it's like the likelihood of them ever sprinting is like 2% or something. It's some crazy number, but it's like the point being, it's like, yeah, after you hit 30, the chance that you're going to go and sprint ever again in your life or like jump high again in your life is like so low. Not that you can't do it, yeah. Most people just won't ever think to do it.
Like, imagine you have kids, right? If you have a kid and you're at the barber shop, they're jumping off the chair, they're going back and forth, they might do a flip and land it. When's the last time you did that? When's the last time?
Yeah, not at the barber, that's for sure. Yeah. Maybe, yeah, you're right. I mean, maybe while playing with my kids, I do stuff like that. But yeah, it's not something I think to myself in my daily life, oh, I should roll around or do something like that. Yeah.
So as you get older, you want to implement things for prevention. Yeah. A little bit lower intensity, but maintain some mobility, test your ligaments, small jumps, little squats, build deeper into flexibility, work on ankle mobility, hip mobility. You have to be a little bit intentional, but that's how you prevent injuries.
Gotcha. So for that weekend warrior, maybe it's something like, giving them the takeaway of like, hey, making sure that you warm up or doing something outside of what your normal thing is. So if you're always like a runner, maybe doing something or doing some more like lateral movements or something to kind of help you just build some of that, I guess I'll call ancillary strength to what your core thing is you enjoy doing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there any, I guess, sport or activity that you think is, primary to helping you kind of stay youthful and not get injured? Like, for example, I hear how running can be really detrimental to your knees and doesn't necessarily help much with your upper body. I heard something about any racket sport, like extends your life by, 10 years. Is there any activity you can think of? You're like, man, if someone was to, decide to get off the couch today and do something, this would be a great thing for them to do.
I think that balance is key. Okay. So if you're going to work on swimming is great to prevent the knee injuries, but you're not getting much impact. And then maybe you do a little bit of tennis because you get that lateral motion for balance. And then maybe a little bit of weight resistance activity in anything to test, your bones, your muscle structure, and your function to prevent sarcopenia and muscle loss over time. So I think balance is key. Too much of any one thing is not necessarily good, Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because like when we're younger, it's like you want to be, the Kobe Bryant, right? So like all you think is basketball. And you hear the stories of, Michael Jordan, all the greats in whatever their sport is, doing that one thing over and over and over again. But it's, what I'm hearing from you is like, as you get older and as you realize you're, not going to be the Kobe Bryant, it's instead not that you are just focused on that singular activity, but having some variation in that activity.
Yeah, I think for me, as a sports medicine physician, my job is to make sure people don't get injured, but you have to know your client, right? So if a person is an athlete and it's their last year, they really got one more fight, you might be focusing on getting them better now. But I'm not one of these gimmick people or these people you see online who's just trying to sell something. I'm trying to make sure you're healthy for the long term. Yeah. How are you going to be? What is your health going to be like when you're 80? What are you going to be like when you're 90?
Yeah.
How are you going to be able to bend over and play with your kids, get on the floor and roll around, get back up? That type of functionality is important to me. So it's not just how can I get the best out of you getting feel good right now. It's I want to get the most out of you and the most function out of you in the future. For athletes, you kind of have to reverse it. Just get it now. But for the general person, I want to get them better for the long run.
Yeah. Yeah, as you know, before we started the show, I was talking about that with my kids. Like I try to think of what activity I can get them in that they could do forever and have the least likelihood of injury. So, you know, things like football and, you know, boxing, you know, kind of scare me. But, you know, I'm always looking for those other activities that could, you know, be good for them. So I appreciate that. What's something surprising or counterintuitive you've learned from working with UFC fighters that applies to general health or recovery?
What's counterintuitive? You know, getting
anything.
Yeah, I don't know, getting hit in the head and still having a good time. Like, these guys, it's amazing how they just get in the ring and just unleash full violence on each other, and then afterwards have the biggest hug and admiration and appreciation for each other. So, I mean, being able to kind of like segmentalize, you know, compartmentalize how we think is still vital. You know, you're full dad at home and then full beast at job, you know. So I think that's probably one of the greatest skills. But that applies to all men, all characters. Anyone who's successful at anything has to be able to compartmentalize. Yeah.
That's something I never thought about, but yeah, it's like so you're telling me, like, because I don't know much about, you know, the fighting world. So after they're in the ring, essentially trying to kill each other, once it's decided everything's done, then they're friends and like everything's okay?
I think the real professionals, the people who, there are some beefs who people don't like each other.
Probably depends on the fight too, right? Like if someone like did something dirty, you're like, dude, you suck. But
yeah, there's that. There's especially in South Florida, you see a lot of that. But rival factions. Yeah. But I think the real competitors, the people who are really good at honing their craft, and they respect each other, and they respect, you know, the honor of the ring. They respect the other person's training, and to see that admiration afterward, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I used to be a competitive snowboarder, and although we're not fighting each other, we are competing. And I remember at the end of it, I'd never sit there being like, oh, you know, I should have beat that guy or whatever. Like, it was pretty obvious that someone was better than you. Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing in the fight. It's pretty, you know, for the most part, definitive of, you know, if you got knocked out or not, or if there's a certain point structure. I guess there can be maybe more opinions there, but there's still a definitive result of, hey, this person beat you, and you just have to kind of, you know, keep going to the next one.
All right.
So what are your thoughts about, so now switching gears, right? So we're talking about performance and, you know, helping you know, people out in their fighting. But what are your thoughts about aesthetics practices today from the perspective of, you know, a real doctor? Like, what is it that you see going on in the industry?
Aesthetics in terms of like skin and beauty, or in terms of like muscle and... Well,
both.
I don't
know much.
I think it's tough. I think there's a lot of voices. Okay. I think a lot of voices are trying to sell things that may be disingenuous. Okay. There are a lot of influencers with great big followings, and if you watch my videos, you'll definitely see me call some of these people out. It's that they'll put little kernels of truth and just mask it with a bunch of garbage. And they might take it to sway people to say, see, that's why you should buy my product. And I feel like that is not doing people good. You know, one day eggs are great, one day eggs are terrible. One day grains are great, one day they're terrible. And when people talk about balance and apply research, there's really not that much variation. So for me, it's like, who is paying attention to the truth? Who is actually giving you real information? And how can you apply it? That's the most important thing to me. And who's thinking about your safety? If you're just about getting the best bang for your buck, how fast can you perform? How much can you jump? How big can your muscles get? I mean, what's the detriment? If you're pumping full of testosterone, you'll get that bang for your buck in the short term. Yeah. But what detriment? Heart health? Prostate health? Are they screening you for those things? Or are they just like him, just trying to sell you stuff and trying to crack you for prices? Yeah. So to me, it's about precision. My philosophy is precision medicine, advanced metrics, longevity, but truly applied to you, not cookie cutter and not just trying to sell you stuff, but actually functional.
Gotcha. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So you've kind of touched on it, but maybe there's more you want to elaborate on, but what's your process for helping someone go from where they are to where they want to be in their health or appearance?
Well, I take a great care with intake. You know, when somebody comes to me, I don't just say, hey, here's your piece of paper, sign up and let's talk. I take a lot of time going over what are your goals, where have you been, what have you tried, where do you want to be, where do you want to be in several years, what are you taking, what have you know, those sort of things. If you're a person who, you know, is a couch potato, you know, we're going to apply a different set of rules than someone who's an elite athlete, you know, so it's just a little different.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's a huge trend that we're seeing, not only as something that's gaining popularity, but it's having the most success as that personalized approach. Because if you just try to give a blanket, solution to someone, it's not going to necessarily work. I mean, some things will, like, people should drink water, but aside from that, it's like, yeah, you need to kind of dial it in.
Yeah, and we get a lot of people who come in and, they want something now, and my friend got this, why don't you give me this? And those people are not really the ideal candidate for us, We want the person who wants to get better, is going to go through the process, really willing to take a listen to themselves, take a look inside and see, where do I want to be, and work at it, and we'll get them to that best possible outcome.
Excellent. What's one misconception people have when walking into an aesthetics or wellness clinic?
Misconception is that you're going to see an expert.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of med spas, so to speak, have no med in it. It's just people trying to sell the latest and greatest. And that's alluding to the question you asked earlier, what's the pitfalls, is that there's a lot of snake oil salesmen now. With all the Botox and fillers, all day we're seeing side effects of these things, and they don't talk about it. Because the people who don't have knowledge, who are not doing the research, who don't know the side effects, don't know how to look for it.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, they're not seeing the process of the stretching of the skin, the complications where you have a artery blockage, or you have fillers where they have toxins in them and it's ruining the quality of your skin. Yes. So there's a lot of things there that become buzzy or trendy, or they see celebrities do it, so people want to do it, but it's not real. It's not evidence-based. It's not something that's actually going to get you healthier. And we're getting to functional aesthetics. I think the next wave is going in that direction.
Yeah, well, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, there's phenomenal peptides out there that can do remarkable things. Of course, figure out what's going to work well for you. And it's not necessarily just take this cream or put this makeup on. There's a lot more to it, a lot more that can be done. So what have you found to be the biggest mistake that clients make when trying to improve their health?
I think listening to other people.
Okay, it seems to be a common trend here.
Yeah. I mean, jumping on fads are always fun.
Yeah.
But now you see this fad of like the Ozempic and the Ozempic bodies. I'm at the airport. I'm like, there's no muscle mass, no bone mass. People look terrible. Skin is sagging, and there's just like, it's not natural. I think listening to fads and not focusing on evidence-based and not having a true care plan for yourself for the long term is the biggest mistake.
I think that's the critical part, is the care plan. Because it could be that the person that's 400 pounds, or someone that wants to lose weight, and something like Ozempic could be beneficial. But it's like, all right, don't just take the drug and stop eating and essentially starve yourself and take away your muscle mass and all that. But instead, okay, you're going to do this. This is going to help you on the cravings, on the volume of food, and we're going to have you on a workout program, a proper diet, other things that are going to support you. We're going to look at other areas to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the care plan is that critical thing. And it's funny because it seems almost like I feel that most people know what they need to do, but they just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like, they know they need to change their diet, but they're like, oh, I could take Ozempic and just, whatever, a shot a day or a shot a week and, not have to think about it or deal with it. But it just doesn't seem like that's real success. I mean, going from a pint of ice cream to half a pint, I mean, yeah, you're losing weight, but, you're not really hitting the real goal of health and vitality.
And there's a number of measurable factors you can look at: biomarkers, inflammatory markers, heavy metals, bone mineral density. Yeah. So like I told you earlier, when we trained, we were in inner city Detroit, and there's a doctor shortage area where some of the unhealthiest people. And I trained with an amazing doctor, Dr. Aquino, right?
Okay.
The guy took an integrative approach back then, and he was just like, listen, we're going to get you healthier. We're going to put these meds away. We're going to take these processed foods away. And we went through like the Ayurvedic approach, the mind-body connection, and we got people healthier without medication in the worst area where they had the worst outcomes, the worst diabetes markers, the worst blood pressure markers. And you look at that and you're like, if you could do it without technology for people who can't afford advanced metrics and all these peptides and GLP-1s, you could do it with anything else. So
yeah, seems like the most critical ingredient is discipline. Once you know what you need to do, once you have that care plan, discipline, just do it.
Absolutely.
And do it over and over again.
So simple, right?
Yeah. I mean, it is and it isn't, but it is.
A little bit of guidance. And obviously there are things that can hold you back. Inflammatory markers, prior conditions, family history, epigenetics, a lot of things. So
Yeah, Yeah. And then, ultimately having the right care plan, right? If you're listening to this influencer, that influencer, and, well, I'll get into that in just a moment of the response to one of the videos. But yeah, it can get confusing because you're like, oh, I should be eating this, but then that's bad, and then this. So so having that professional to give you that personalized care plan that's actually going to help you.
I would say that's one of the biggest benefactors of our practice, because that's the core of our practice. It's you.
Yeah.
It's not, oh, come jump on this plan and you're just running some program and it can run by itself. Your care plan is for you and tailor-made, and I think that's definitely what sets us apart.
Absolutely. So talking about trends, are there any health trends that you feel are oversaturated or potentially misleading that people should be really cautious about?
Maybe like the Ozempic one, because losing bone mineral density, developing osteoporosis or osteopenia is a big problem. If you're just taking it because you want to lose an extra 5 pounds and you're not obese, I see this all the time. I really think it's a mental disease.
Okay.
I think this is the next phase of where we're going to have mental health issues due to body dysmorphia. I think if you're taking it just because you want to shut your appetite down and you're nutrient depleted, this is a problem.
Yeah.
Because women past 25 can't grow muscle. They can't grow bone anymore.
Oh, okay.
So if you cannot grow bone and you're losing it, or maybe you even got pregnant and that's sucking vitamin D and calcium from your body, and now your bones are depleted even more, and you want to lose your baby weight, so you take even more shots, it's just a bad trend overall. Yeah. It's terrible. And then mentally on top of it, I think it's going to ravage the person.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that, man. It's definitely something to look out for. Is there anything odd or unconventional that you personally do daily for your health?
I don't think it's unconventional. I wake up every morning. So I had an issue where I tried to cut caffeine out of my body.
Okay.
I don't like the effects of it. I feel like it gives me up and it gives me a crash. So I wake up every single morning, I get some sunlight.
Okay.
The first thing I do when I'm still stretching, I get sunlight right away. I hydrate right away. Plug for Maltana Belt water. But I get my electrolytes made with some Himalayan salt. But just might think it's like a little trendy or something like that. But for me, just hydrating, just getting sunlight gives me a burst of energy.
Well, and the best part is how much does that cost you?
Nothing.
Yeah. I think aside from whatever the water is, I mean, it's really nothing. Yeah. And it's something that we fortunately all have access to. So, I think that's something that most people kind of overcomplicate. And that's, when you asked me earlier, like, why do I want to do this, podcast and share this stuff, is I think I agree with you that there are so many experts that demonize certain things like, oh, this is the wrong water, it should be this and that. It's just, it gets so challenging to even know what to do. Whereas if you just do the basics, like you're saying, wake up, get some sun, you don't have to, go down to a specific beach at a specific time when the sun's a certain way and humidity's just right. Just, it doesn't have to be that complicated. Walk around outside, whatever. Like you're saying, stretch, be waking up, read something, whatever it is. Just begin your day, get some sun, drink some water, throw in a bit of salt. Like, you're good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my life is no different than others. We're working nonstop. You're waking up extra early, dealing with family and, putting everything into our business, barely sleeping the last few months.
Yeah.
But, if I wake up in the morning, I got that sunshine, I hydrated well, and I'm stretching out there, I just feel better. I start my day right,
Yeah, 100%. So moving a little bit into supplements, because, the supplement industry is massive. And I know a lot of people hear about, hey, you should take this or take that. I'm curious to get your opinion. Are supplements actually useful, and how can someone determine what they truly need or don't?
Yeah, great question. I think supplements are great if you cannot get it from the diet.
Okay.
I think whatever you can get from food absolutely should be from food, because there's many beneficial factors. People don't realize if you do take supplements, you're taking all the carriers with it. And,
you're taking all the what?
Carriers.
Okay, tell me more about that. What's that mean?
So like magnesium stearate, the capsules, the fillers.
Gotcha.
So like whatever else.
Yeah, you're not getting just this pure thing. There's something else.
Yeah. So I think all these things do take a toll on the body. Some way or some things are more known, some things are lesser known. But I think if you have to take some things, like maybe you can't get enough creatine or protein in your diet and you have to supplement, I could see that benefit for the long term. But if you can get fiber from your diet, with phytonutrients, I think it's always better.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because I remember seeing something about like all the ingredients in an apple, and it's like some ginormous list of all these phytonutrients that we know of, and not to mention all the things we potentially don't know of. And yeah, you're not going to quite cut that with taking a supplement, right? It's like you need to eat the whole food. There's a lot of benefit to that.
Yeah, you can't out supplement aging, but if you do it in a precise way, you can use it to actually move the needle for you.
Yeah, and that comes back to that care plan, that precision, figuring out actually what you are deficient in, having your diet reviewed, and then going, okay, maybe you need, X, Y, and Z to help you in that area that for whatever reason you have a weakness in, or you aren't, digesting, or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah. What are some red flags that you look for in supplement marketing or product claims?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a big one.
I'm sure that could be a whole show in and of itself, because there are a lot of interesting claims.
I mean, if there is a celebrity pushing it, and they're just pushing it for a certain reason, so people are jumping on it for that reason, like, oh, they're doing it because, X, Y, and Z is taking it, then I know, that's a red flag to me. If there's a lot of sugar in it, it's obviously a red flag.
Yeah.
High fructose corn syrup is a no-no.
Yeah.
Colors and dyes. I think we're doing better with the Maha movement, trying to cut those out. But
definitely, if nothing else, more awareness. I mean, there's still there's still crap in food, but there's conversations around that. Whereas I don't think there's as many conversations around food dyes, additives, et cetera. It's just kind of talked about a little bit, but now it's obviously on the main stage. So.
Yeah. Probiotics. I like to have a probiotic that has like a serial number at the end, so it's actually a strain that's been studied.
Oh.
There's a number of things, but.
Gotcha. But tell me more about the serial number. I don't know about that with probiotics.
So if a strain has actually been studied, you want to make sure that the strain has an intended purpose. Like there is probiotics for gut health, for appetite. There's some for women's health. They want something that's actually been studied, not just like a plethora of probiotics. Like, oh yeah, it has lactobacillus, but okay, what's the intended purpose, right?
Interesting. I've never heard about that. Okay. So doctor was saying earlier about the reaction video. I was very excited to get to this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw your reaction video about food confusion. How can someone navigate conflicting advice around what to eat? When it comes to, should they have oatmeal? Should they eat eggs? Should they have fruit? So sorry, just to backtrack, the video was, that I recall was, I've seen several different versions of this, but the one I think you did was a lady sitting down as something like POV eating, I think it was just eating in 2025. And then she was like starting to eat oatmeal, and then this video came up with like, oatmeal's peasant food, it's leaching nutrients from your body, so she puts the oatmeal away. And then I think she grabs fruit, and it's something like, fruit's terrible for you, it's, going to wreck your, blood sugar or something, and so she puts that away. And there's vegetables, and it just kept going on to essentially, I mean, she probably would have to eat nothing, right? So, talk to me a little bit more about that, and how is it that people can navigate through this and figure out like what they should be eating?
Yeah, great question. So I'm a balanced food type of person. I'm not like, oh, keto all day. You look at some people who are pushing those videos, like you mentioned Paul Saladino. Paul Saladino pushes keto. Yeah. He's pushing his supplement line to push keto. So he has an incentive for that type of advice. He'll take a grain of knowledge and he'll pack it to fit his outcome, right?
Yeah.
But so looking at where the information is coming from and being critical of the information is how we fight this information overload. I think in general, eating food that's from the earth, that's simple, pure in ingredients, will do you right.
Yeah, whole foods.
Whole foods. We still need starches. Starches are not the enemy. Your body needs it. But, you have to also listen to your body, know what you can process, know what you're depleted in, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, we were talking about that earlier. Like, it'd almost be good to, have a map of like all the different food groups and then playing the different experts telling you how something's terrible. And then there's like crossing it off to probably end at the end of it where it's like, you can't have anything, or I don't know if there's anything that people all have a consensus on. Cause I was going to say maybe nuts, but then even then, potentially people have a high rate of allergies on nuts. So it's like, whatever, could you eat? So
don't you know there's aluminum in the water?
Oh man. Yeah, it's never ending. So it's tough. Like I remember I was talking with another gentleman, he's like, yeah, it's so hard to be healthy nowadays because like there's so many things to look out for, fluorescent light bulbs, what's the other one, the electricity stuff. So it's like it's hard if you're trying to listen to every single thing and try to do every single thing, especially when a lot of it may not have the evidence, or there's a partial truth, or there is a truth but it's taken or it's overblown. Like for example, the oatmeal one, I was looking more into that. I thought that was interesting where yes, it could leach also the nutrients, but is it at the rate that like oatmeal's killing you. No,
Right.
like there's still benefits to it. So it's like everything kind of has that balance of like, yeah, oatmeal may have this one small detriment, but there's all these other pros to it.
Yeah.
And it's simple to eat.
And then it's dosing. Like if you're taking large amounts, okay, might be a problem with even sugar intake. But if you have a small amount and that helps with the fiber and that helps decrease your risk of diabetes, what improvement of your long-term morbidity and mortality is that going to improve by reducing diabetes? It's massive.
Yeah.
So are you really worried about that little bit of
Yeah.
possibly poison that some guys mentioning on the internet? It's not even a pale in comparison. It's a drop in the bucket compared to actually moving the needle by removing diabetes.
Something to try to think about too is a scaling of like the absolute best thing you could do versus the absolute worst thing you could do, and then thinking about that in every situation. So for example, like what was the other day, I had to go over to Naples, and I have a Tesla, so I had to charge at this one spot 'cause there's like no gas station within like a certain range. So it's like, all right, I had to stop there. Then I go to grab something to eat. The first option, I'm pretty sure, is Dunkin' Donuts, right? So not great, not much there. Second option is a gas station that had whatever ingredients were there. So not ideal, but potentially more options in there. So looking at those two, it's like there's three choices, right? There's three choices. I could go to Dunkin' Donuts and get whatever they have, which is basically donuts, right?
Yeah.
Or I could go into the gas station, try to find a good snack. And the third option I think some people miss is I could simply not eat for that meal. Like, I'm not saying that you just skip every meal, but it's like, this was one meal, I'm heading towards my home, where I know I have plenty of food. And it's like, that is potentially an option if your choices are horrible. But in this situation, I found there's like a better quality beef jerky. I think there's also like some cheese that I had, and I don't remember if that's a third thing or if I just got like a water, but it's like, oh no, it was some nuts. That's what it was, some pistachios. So it's like, that was good enough to just, help me keep going.
Wow. I find these conversations with myself all the time. Like I took a road trip recently. It was the same deal. Yeah. I was like, oh, I want to get a treat on the road. But then I was like, well, if I do nothing, I'd be okay. I'm not going to starve, right? And I think we all react to that hunger pain like we have to do something. We don't have to do something. And I think we react because of stress. We react because if we want a little bit of a dopamine rush. What are we afraid of? Being a little hungry? Just a twinge of being hungry. Usually, you're probably even just thirsty.
Yeah.
You might not actually be hungry. You might just be thirsty.
100%.
Or there's like a somatic reaction, like you just want to put your hand, it's been 4 hours since breakfast, I need to eat something.
Yeah.
That reflex, that's a problem. So I think just having the discipline of knowing that I'm good right now has a number of benefits.
Absolutely. I know the same thing with like crunchiness. Like sometimes I like want something crunchy, like obviously chips are really crunchy, and terrible. Well, depends on the chip, but for the most part, versus like celery or like a really good grape or something like that. You can still get that crunch factor and that satisfaction. The other thing that, I balance myself is I used to like sit down and be like, oh, like I'm hungry and I'm craving whatever it is, chocolates. So it's like, I want to eat a whole chocolate bar to fill the hunger and hit the satisfaction. When the reality is, if I'm hungry, I should have a proper meal. If I'm craving something sweet or whatever, it's okay to have a piece of it. But do you need a whole bar? Do you need a whole tub of it? Probably not. So I think that's the other level of balance. Like you're saying, like, if you want to give yourself a treat, it's not that it has to be a zero-sum game. It's just, it doesn't have to be your entire meal. It doesn't have to be something that goes completely off the rails.
Yeah, and then when we talk about, what about the benefits of autophagy? If you got an opportunity to fast and have your body kind of like cleanse itself and work on your sirtuin pathway and like bring your insulin level down, there's a number of benefits to planning that out and allowing a period of fasting and, allow our body to reset a little bit. There's a number of benefits to that. And the more we eat, the more we ruin that. The more, it's anti-aging to just keep eating. I mean, it's aging you faster to continue to eat, not to mention raising your cortisol.
You had a buddy that he's fairly overweight and he wanted to make some changes in his health, and he did a 30-day fast or 30-day water fast. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I don't say this is what everyone should do, but it's just the point is he did it. He's alive. He survived, right? Yeah. So once again, not something everyone should do, but just the point of like, can you have or could you skip that one meal where the option is just something horrific? Absolutely. Yeah. If like, for example, that I guess we both could plan better on the road trip or whatever, it brought some stuff. So it's like, if you know that, then prepare ahead of time, have some stuff so that when you travel, whatever, you can have something that's, going to be better for you. If, fasting or whatever isn't an option, or if you have, a different goal that you're working on. So another video that I saw you do was you posted a video on food sensitivities versus food allergies. And that's something that my lab has specialized in for the past 40 years.
Yeah.
So what signs or symptoms make you recommend someone get tested for either of those?
That's a great question. So when we do blood work, at least in the traditional American system, you do blood work and you expect a certain result. You're like, oh, okay, it's pretty good. But doctor, I still feel kind of crappy. I feel fatigued. I have gut issues. My hair is not growing as much as I like. What can I do differently? And that's where we start thinking about some more advanced tests. What nutrients are you missing? What what intolerances to medications or foods or additives do you have? And that's why I'm so thankful for labs like yours for giving people these answers. When you need to make diet modifications, you could do an oral challenge, but that's cumbersome.
Yeah, well, it's scary too if it's an immediate allergy like that.
Exactly.
That could be anaphylactic. That could be emergency room.
Yeah. So if you have a tool that can help you make a decision, that's great.
Yeah. One of the reasons I started this podcast, as mentioning earlier, is the frustration with how the medical system often treats symptoms and not root causes. What advice do you have for patients who want to get more from their doctor visits and find the root cause?
Well, first of all, you have to find the right doctors. There are doctors, a lot of doctors. I can think of most of the doctors I trained with love to get to the root cause. DOs, the philosophy is get to the root cause. However, we are in a system where that's so corporate, where hospitals are buying out these private doctors, that the pressure is on us to see more patients. The doctors are not in control of that relationship as much. It's more pressure. See the patient, move on. See the patient, move on. And that's really bad for healthcare. The system is broken. Instead of a model of health, it's a model of sickness. So finding the right doctor who is willing to take the time, who has that passion to speak to you as a person, because they want you to get better, believe me. But the person who has the time to talk to you will really make the difference.
Gotcha. Any resources of how someone can find a doctor like that or things to look for?
As in my personal beliefs there, stay away from big hospital systems. I think you'll find some good doctors, but they're not in it for you. It's only getting worse. Gotcha. I think COVID and the whole pandemic thing emphasized that,
Well, hospitals are a ginormous business, so it kind of makes sense. The way they make the money is, turning people in and out, in and out, in and out.
And insurance systems do not care about you. They will do everything they can to not pay for your care and deny you. As much as your doctor says, hey, he thinks he deserves this medication will be great for the root cause. I prescribed somebody vitamin E and got rejected. I prescribed somebody vitamin D and got rejected.
Yeah.
So there's a number of things. They won't cover vitamin C. They'll say it's over the counter. Oh, their pharmacy won't fill it. These pharmacy benefit managers and insurance companies control healthcare in this country. The doctor might have the best intentions, but who are they to say, oh, no, we can't cover this for you. You don't need this. Your doctor is the one who studied for 14 years to determine it for you.
Yeah.
So really, it's a little bit demoralizing, but you got to rise above it. You got to be able to have more connections. And the more you go to the doctor, the better that relationship will be.
Yeah.
If you go once every 3 years, you're not going to have that. Oh, the doctor just wanted to get blood work. Develop that relationship. Go when you're not sick and talk about the other things. Talk about your goals. You can still get your outcomes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think it's something too where people pay for insurance, so they think, oh, I want XYZ service to be covered by insurance, or I only want the stuff that's covered by insurance because I'm already paying for that. But the reality is, if you want insurance to be leading your health journey, we just have to look at the statistics to see where that journey is going to take you. It's going to take you, diabetes, obesity, all kinds of different chronic issues.
Yeah, it's really the bare minimum, unfortunately. And you know how they say, follow the flow of water? Well, the following the flow of water goes into the sewer.
Yeah.
If you want top quality healthcare, you got to be proactive.
Yeah.
And you have to develop a good relationship with your doctor. And if they're not really attuned to it, you got to find somebody else.
Absolutely. In business, we track KPIs to evaluate performance, So what are the top key performance indicators for someone's health that you believe matter most? Because you've talked a lot about testing, but is there any kind of key KPIs, whether it's testing or other things, that everyone should really be focused on?
It depends how aggressive you want to be.
Okay.
I think insulin resistance is going to be the biggest one going forward. The last 30 to 40 years, heart disease has skyrocketed. that we found these statins and medications were more medicated than ever, but heart disease is still rising. I think insulin resistance is that problem. I think too much fructose, high fructose corn syrup is destroying our liver, sedentary lifestyle. So insulin resistance, if you can measure it, whether it's an oral glucose tolerance test or you measure your fasting glucose, I don't think the A1C is enough. Okay. But if you can be aggressive with insulin resistance, I think that would be ideal.
Gotcha.
Inflammatory markers are another one. But you can get into more advanced measures, so like VO2 max and all that stuff. But I think those are the key.
Gotcha. Any kind of daily things that people should kind of be tracking or thinking about?
Like daily blood pressure or
any, I guess, habits. Like, is there any habits that someone should make sure, all right, I should make sure I get some sunlight. I should make sure I do this or that.
Yeah.
Anything to kind of, so I'd like to break stuff down from the complexity to just, all right, tomorrow when you wake up, ideally you should do ABC.
Yeah, and I hate that cookie cutter, but at the same time, it's going to sound boring. But hey, make sure you got enough water.
Okay.
Make sure you slept enough.
Yeah.
Make sure you kept your body moving throughout the day.
Gotcha.
Make sure you challenge yourself.
Yeah.
You don't go too fast with muscle, but you need gradual, progressive muscle strengthening. Gradual, progressive challenges. You'll get your muscle stronger, your bones stronger, and that feat of overcoming something is great for your brain.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's good.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, there's not going to be like you should take ABC, as far as like a specific thing, because it really comes down to the mundane. Like, it's just the mundane over and over again, day in and day out.
How much can we fight off stress? How much can we maintain our discipline to, maintain our lifestyle without letting outside forces bring us down?
Yeah.
So there's a little mental component to that too.
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking about that. The mental aspect, you're remarkable in all the experiences that you've had and the people that you've worked with. So what's your mindset around health and well-being?
Mindset around health and well-being should be prioritize yourself.
Okay.
I think we live in a country that does not prioritize yourself. It doesn't prioritize family. It doesn't prioritize connection. It's everybody on the go. Both partners, family, husband and wife, both have to work. Kids sometimes have to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
Do what you can after school. Prioritizing yourself to make sure you're there for others is very important. So
back to the old airline adage, right? You got to put your mask on before you can help anyone else.
Absolutely, and focusing on the well-being. Teach your kids how to eat. Teach them how to be thankful. When you're thankful, you manage stress. You're helpful to others. When you are stressed all the time, your cortisol will ravage you. Your sugar goes up. You get more obese, central obesity. You get more osteoporosis, hair loss, acne. So if you can manage cortisol and you can prioritize yourself, have a good emotional well-being, you're already ahead of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. As a doctor focused on wellness and longevity, are there any 3 kind of daily habits you think almost everyone should incorporate into their lives? Are we back to the water, the exercise?
Yeah. I mean, 3 habits. Let's change it up a little bit.
Okay.
So water, sleep. How about, we just mentioned gratitude?
Yeah.
I think gratitude is a big one. Pushing yourself and challenging yourself. Finding a challenge, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, something that's difficult and overcome it.
Gotcha.
Would be number 2, and what's number 3? Eating clean. I think eating clean, where the ingredients on the list of food is short, like 2 or 3, maybe 1 thing. If sugar is in the top 3 ingredients, throw it away.
Yeah, and you have to watch out because it'll break up different types of sugar.
Yeah.
That one's always, I find that to be hysterical, where it's like, I can't remember all the different names, but it'll be like high fructose corn syrup and then cane sugar and then just sugar. And it's like, it's like they'll have all these different sugars or names for essentially the same type of sugar. Yeah. It's fascinating how they break it up. So it may not be the number 1, but when you look, you're like, okay, like 5 out of 10 ingredients are sugar in this item.
I was so pissed when I found that out about granola bars. I lived on granola bars in college. And then I started looking at the ingredients. I'm like, oh, this is garbage. Throw it away.
Yeah. I mean, it's a candy bar dressed up as a health bar.
Right.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah. So where can people learn more about you, your clinics, and follow your work online?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, dr.j.maarouf, Dr. John. We can come visit us. We're here in South Florida. We have office in Delray, Institute Plan Surgical Orthopedics, and various other clinics. And if you need anything, you can message me. We have a clinic in Michigan, just starting up, Luminary Health. where we've been focusing on inpatient and outpatient medicine. Now we're doing more the concierge side of it, and we're trying to apply a lot of the longevity and the wellness to our existing practice. It's been awesome so far.
Excellent. Do you have telemedicine as well? So if someone's not in the area, can they still visit you? Or?
Of course, okay. Yeah. Telemedicine, right. And we travel. We come to you as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. John.
Thank you.
Pleasure having you on.